this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the format that I use to write down my yearly goals. I'm also going to be sharing with you some really simple but super effective tools that I use to make sure I stay accountable and actually achieve my goals. I'm actually also going to share some of my personal goals for 2025. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed at the minute with all this new year, new me and goal setting, hopefully me sharing some of my personal goals with you will help inspire you to come up with some goals of your own. I'm also going to be talking about the topic of manifestation, but I'm going to be breaking down this woo-woo concept into practical steps that I have implemented in my own life that have really worked for me. And I've been able to manifest things in my life that literally a few years ago didn't even seem possible. So maybe you're new to goal setting, or maybe you've done goal setting before, but it's not quite working for you. You're not really achieving your goals. Stay tuned for the rest of this video because I'm going to break down my tried and tested method into really simple steps. So to be honest, I only started writing goals in 2023. I was inspired by someone off social media and I thought that seems like a really good idea. It seems really simple. I'm going to try it and see where it gets me. And to be honest, writing down goals at the beginning of every year has been an absolute game changer for me. As someone who in the past just felt completely lost, I had super bad mental health and I just didn't have any direction in life. I was just literally going nowhere. I didn't feel like I was successful. I didn't have any drive and motivation. So I have found that writing goals each year has given me some structure and it's given me a clear vision and mission for the year ahead. Remember, you don't have to write goals at the beginning of the new year. Literally, you can write them anytime. I think the first time I wrote them in 2023, it wasn't in the new year. It was actually February time. To be honest, the whole new year thing, especially on social media, I can find it really overwhelming. It's just a load of noise. And to be honest, a lot of it is just a load of nonsense. So let's get into it. This is the process that I followed this year for writing out my goals. This is the format that I used. On the 2nd of January in 2025 this year, me and my boyfriend sat down, we got out our 2024 goals and we reviewed them and we made a note of which goals we had achieved and which goals we hadn't achieved and why. Then once we'd reviewed our 2024 goals, we made a note of the goals that we hadn't achieved that we wanted to take over to 2025. Also, as we were going through the 2024 goals, I just made a note of key things that I wanted to focus on for 2025. Then when it came to writing my 2025 goals, I always break down my goals into these categories. So the categories that I have currently are health, so physical and mental health, my career, savings, travel, my relationship, and daily habits. So I wrote out my goals in this A4 pad. Nothing fancy. Now I'm going to share with you some of my 2025 goals. So maybe, like I said, if you're feeling a bit uninspired at the minute, maybe this will give you some ideas. Two things that I think are super important to note here. When I wrote out my goals, I break down exactly how I'm going to achieve those goals. So I put down actions, and these are SMART goals. So if you've not heard of SMART goals before, SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So this is one of the tools that I use. If you want to achieve your goals for the year, you need to think in detail. What are going to be the steps that you're going to take, the precise steps you're going to take to achieve that goal by the end of the year? So for example, when it comes to my travel goals, I've put here that I want to travel to 4 new places, either abroad or in the UK this year. But then I've gone on to break it down. So I've broke it down. What countries do I want to visit? So I've put Italy, Barcelona, Portugal. Those are 3 for starters. I need to think of a 4th one. And then next to it, I've put who I'm going to go on those holidays with and also the dates that I'm going to go and for how long. So here I'm getting into the specifics of it to ensure these holidays actually happen. So another one of my goals for 2025, when it comes to health and my mental health, I've put a key focus for this year is keeping a strong level of calmness, clarity, and being in tune with my intuition. That's a very broad goal. So how am I going to ensure that that actually happens? So the action that I've put here is to keep up my daily routine that includes my daily cold shower, my meditation for 20 minutes to 30 minutes, my breath work, and my journaling. So I am committing to that every single day to increase calmness, peace, and clarity within my mind and body. Another one of my goals is that by the end of the year, I want to have saved a certain amount of money. We can't just put, oh, by the end of the year, I want to have saved 10 grand and then not put in any actionable steps. So what I did for that goal, I actually broke down all my finances. So I wrote down here the wage that comes into my bank account every month, all my outgoings, and then how much I've got left at the end and how much is feasible to put aside for saving, and then how much I'm going to need for like holidays and just like general spending, like maybe going out for dinner and stuff like that. So again, I'm breaking it down into realistic actionable steps. There's some habits here that I've put down that I need to stick to help me save more. So I've put here minimal spending on clothes / no spend. To be honest, the clothes that I've got, I noticed last year I was like buying things impulsively when I was bored. So there's going to be none of that this year. Literally, I can't really think of anything that I need clothes-wise. I put here to sell my old clothes on Vinted to earn some extra cash. Then I've put a budget as well for our weekly food shop. So we are really going to try to stick to that budget as a way of saving money. Another idea that I've come up with that could help us save money is when it comes to the household bills. So I notice at the minute I have quite long showers because I just love being under the hot water. If I'm not washing my hair, it's 2 minutes to have a shower, and yeah, I'm setting a timer on my phone and I'm getting out after those 2 minutes, and I'm just going to see if that saves money on the water bill. So another thing when it comes to my goals, there's a lot of little habits in here that I want to get nailed down in 2025. So for example, I want to drink 4 to 5 bottles of water a day. I put that as a goal for 2024 and I didn't achieve that, especially towards the end of last year. I was terrible with drinking an adequate amount of water. Also, some other little habits I want to implement. I want to read 1 book a month. So I need to read at least 12 books this year. Also in the morning, the first hour that I wake up, I don't want to be on my phone. For me, it's super important not to be on my phone for that first hour in the morning. I find that if I go onto social media straight away, or if I go onto online shopping or anything like that, it really knocks off my mood for the day in a negative way. So here I've put I want to be asleep for 10 p.m. when I've got work the next day, and the hour before bed, no going on social media apps. Like maybe, okay, sending a message to a friend or my family, but no going on social media or online shopping or anything like that. So those are some of my goals for this year. Obviously, I've not gone through them all because some of them are very personal. Something that I noticed last year was that I had all these little habits that I'd wrote down that I actually didn't achieve. So like last year, I said that I wanted to read a book every month and I didn't achieve that. So I thought this year, right, how can I make sure that I definitely achieve those goals this year? Because what I will say is, all those little habits, all the little things, when you do those consistently, they really add up to big changes in your life. And I have experienced that personally, so I know it works, and I know that I really want to nail down these little habits. So one thing I've decided to implement this year, and I was inspired by a colleague at work, I've implemented a habit tracker. So guys, this is my daily habit tracker. Literally write your daily habits here. So it's going to include stuff like my breath work, my meditation, going to bed no later than 10 p.m. when I've got work the next day, drinking 4 to 5 bottles of water. What else have I got on there? No phone 1 hour before bed. Only staying in the shower for like 2 minutes. Stuff like that. And then for each day, I give myself a green or a red sticker. And literally, I'm harsh. Like, I've got to do the habit 100%. If there's any like, umming and ahhing about it, it's a red sticker. Then I've got my weekly habits. They don't really fit into the daily habits. So for example, one of my weekly habits is to train my abs 3 times a week. So what I'll do, I'll write here, train abs 3 times a week, and then I'll give myself a sticker each time that I train abs. And then I've also got my monthly habits. So I remind myself of my monthly habits for January. And one of my monthly habits is to review my yearly goals. Something I didn't do last year was I didn't look back on my goals that often, if at all. So I want a prompt every month and I want to tick it off that I have looked back at my goals, and I think that brings them to the forefront of your mind. It takes them into your subconscious. It just keeps you on this trajectory and path towards actually achieving your goals. Guys, something that I forgot to mention here is that you can actually create a vision board. So I've seen a lot of people doing this online, and instead of looking back at your written notes, another way, another strategy, another tool to help solidify and remind yourself of your goals and dreams throughout the year is to create a vision board. And I've seen people create these with by printing out pictures and actually physically sticking them on the board. But I've also seen people creating them like on Word or whatever program on your laptop, and having them as the background on their laptop every day, and also having them as their phone screensaver and background. So that is another really, really good tool to help you actually achieve your goals in the year. Another one of my monthly goals for January, it will be to have read one book for that month. So that's something else that I'll be putting there as well. So here is the habit tracker so far this week. And to be honest, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It might be half red, half green. I definitely need to improve for next week. Definitely need to improve. There needs to be more green stickers on here. But yeah, that's how it's working. So I've got my habits down here. Like I said, days of the week there, and yeah, a sticker for each day. These ones I've scribbled out because, for example, one of these is get to sleep before 10 p.m. And I've scribbled these out because on these days Friday I work from home, so Thursday I can allow myself to go to bed a little bit later if I want. And then obviously Friday, Saturday, I can go to bed later. So that's why I've scribbled it out, because it's not applicable. That goal is not applicable on those days. Another thing when it comes to writing your goals that I think is really, really important is to write them using a pen to paper. There's just something about that act that I think is a bit magical. And I know that sounds woo-woo, but I really, really believe you need to put pen to paper when you're writing down your goals. I just don't think it has the same effect when either you're doing it on your phone or you're doing it on the laptop. There is something about the effort of putting pen to paper and writing down each letter with your hand. There is something about that, and I think it ties in with manifestation. So let's touch on manifestation. When you hear the word manifestation, I feel like that word is being thrown around a lot recently, and it can sound like some woo-woo concept, but I'm going to break down for you now how I have used manifestation in my life and how I've broken this concept down into practical steps that actually work. So manifesting, it does work. And I think the reason that it works is that, like I said, you put pen to paper and you write down your goals and how you're going to achieve them. And I think that sends out an energy, a vibration. It sets the wheels in motion and intention of what you want to achieve. It's not just random thoughts swirling round in your head. You have cemented it on a piece of paper. Then I think from writing down your goals, you start thinking about them. You start thinking about them daily. You review them and think about them some more. They're in the forefront of your mind. And that then filters through to your subconscious. Then you start demonstrating behaviors and you start taking actions that put you on that trajectory to achieving your goals. And that's simply how manifestation works. I don't think it's any magic. It's not a woo-woo concept. It's just the practical, effective steps of holding something in your mind, cementing it on paper, and then taking that action. And if you focus your energy constantly in a certain direction, eventually you are going to get to that goal and dream, and you're going to make it a reality for yourself. I heard something recently that was quite profound when it comes to manifestation, and it really gave me a bit of a light bulb moment. I was listening to this podcast by this guru, and he said, look around you right now. Everything you've previously desired surrounds you right now. And in that moment, I looked round and I was like, oh my God, that's completely right. A couple of years ago, when I started my healing journey, I set the intention and I started journaling and I started writing goals. And to be honest, before this time, my life was not going in the direction that I wanted it to. I had really bad mental health. I had a really bad love life. I kept getting with toxic guys. I wasn't successful in my career. Nothing was going right for me. But then when I set the intention, when I got serious about wanting to feel better, when I started journaling and writing down my goals, what I did was I set the intention that I no longer wanted my mental health to be derailing my life. I had long-term anxiety and depression, and I wanted to thrive more in life. I also said to myself that I no longer wanted to be in toxic relationships, and I really wanted to find a true, loving, genuine boyfriend that I could spend cozy evenings with me, that had the same interests as me, someone who truly loved me, who was really affectionate, because I'd never had that before in the past. And I wanted to live with this person. I wanted to live in a beautiful 2-bed apartment. I also set the intention that I wanted to be successful in my career, and I wanted to start earning a certain amount of salary in my role. Also, I wanted to start traveling again and seeing new places, because I did so much traveling in the past, and then when COVID hit, I literally didn't end up going on holiday for 3 years. So those are the intentions that I set a couple of years ago. And when I heard that guru say that, what he said about look around you now, everything you've desired currently surrounds you, it suddenly dawned on me. I am currently living in a reality of what I once dreamt of. A couple of years ago, me having a genuine loving boyfriend, being in this 2-bedroom apartment with him, feeling so happy and being free of my anxiety and depression, that seemed like it was a million miles away and that it wasn't possible. Once I started envisioning my life in a certain way, started believing that I deserve those things, I have quickly turned my life around. And like I said, things that I thought were just impossible for me, I have been able to achieve those things. I have been able to attract those things into my life. So you might be listening to this now and you might look around yourself and think, well, things that I want in my life, they're not surrounding me right now. All I can see is darkness and misery, and things are just not going the way I want it. And that was me a few years ago. Like, if you'd have spoke to me 5 years ago and you'd have said, look around you now, everything that you've desired surrounds you, I'd have looked around and I'd have thought, well, there's actually nothing really great here that I want. Like, my life isn't going how I want it to. But what I will say is, during that time, I wasn't implementing these practices. I wasn't writing down yearly goals. I wasn't journaling every day about my dream life. I was really lost and I was time wasting, to be honest. And I was putting my energy into things that really weren't serving me and that were dragging me backwards. Once I started setting that intention and believing that I deserve these things and journaling about it every day, I've been able to manifest things into my life super quickly, like within a couple of years. And you might be thinking now, well, a couple of years is quite a long time. But when you compare that 2 years to the rest of your life, to turn things around in such a short space of time, that is not much time at all. And you've got the rest of your life to start enjoying that more positive path that you're on. So guys, I'm going to conclude this video. Like I said, at this time of year, it can seem super overwhelming, especially online when it comes to the new year, new me and goal setting, but it doesn't have to be like that. I have devised a really simple process, like I said, that really keeps me on track for the year and just gives me some purpose and some direction. But what I will say is, maybe you actually don't have any goals for the year and you're feeling happy within yourself. That's absolutely fine. Maybe your goals, they're really small. It's something like just getting out of bed in the morning, brushing your teeth, getting dressed, and heading out for the day. But if you're someone who suffers with bad mental health, if you've got depression, those goals can be absolutely huge for you. So, yeah, don't feel like you need to have these massive dreams and goals because, like I've said, what I've found personally, it's the small little habits that you do consistently every day that end up adding up to huge positive transformations in your life. Okay, everyone, thanks for listening. And if you've liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.